Big Elon Musk news over the weekend. This was epic. So SpaceX caught a towering booster rocket back at its launch pad in South Texas, which is marking a major engineering milestone for the Starship. It was SpaceX's first attempt at the catch. The vehicle could one day be used to carry humans to Mars and to the moon. Musk said on X, quote, "Big step towards making life multiplanetary was made today." And NASA Administrator Bill Nelson congratulated the company in an X, writing, quote, "Congratulations to SpaceX on its successful booster catch and its 5th Starship flight test today as we prepare to go back to the moon under Project Artemis. Continued testing will prepare us for the bold mission that lies ahead." Now, while the Daily Wire's Ben Shapiro said, quote, "Elon Musk is currently engineering an epical revolution in technology, and California is busy trying to stop him because he did memes they don't like."
Meanwhile, Democratic Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman warned Democrats about Musk's appeal. Let's watch.
People assumed after 2012 that Pennsylvania is an easy layup, for Dems, and I'm like, no, that's just not true. And Trump has now made it so competitive, and I want people to understand how popular he is in Pennsylvania. And one thing, honestly, that it really does have me concerned more than the polls. The polls is what I expected, but now he is using, and Musk is willing to actually show up at these kinds of rallies. And I witnessed that in Butler County a couple days ago. Musk is, most endorsements don't count for much in this business, but Musk is incredibly popular, and he has an appeal to a demographic that Democrats have been struggle with. And to some people, that they see him as, that's Tony Stark. He's the world's richest man, and he's undeniably a brilliant guy. So I think that is a situation for Democrats we would have to acknowledge.
Yeah, I think Fetterman often has some very interesting and perceptive things to say about the state of the Democratic Party, pointing out Musk's appeal as an engineer, as a businessman, likening him to Tony Stark, which I actually think is ironic because John Fetterman himself bears a little bit of a resemblance to the villain from the first Iron Man movie, the Obadiah Stane, who's played by, I can't think of his name, Jeff Bridges. Doesn't he look a little bit like Jeff Bridges?
I mean, when Jeff Bridges in character, sure.
Yeah.
I think that what Fetterman is saying is he's appealing to young white men who spend a lot of time online, who dream about being billionaires someday, and that was, I think, part of the appeal of Donald Trump in 2015.
Going to space? Don't we all dream about going to space?
No, I think that's a real male. I mean, I love science. I think science is great, and obviously, the queens of NASA were Black women who really helped our space program get off the ground. That's not the narrative, of course, Elon Musk. Elon Musk is putting a lot of money into funding scientists, and I think that's great. That's fantastic. I wish he would pay his taxes so we could fully fund NASA, but he's also doing things that are detrimental, which I don't want to leave off the table here. He has received fines because they have violated the Clean Water Act in Texas, that they are ignoring the regulations in terms of dumping hundreds of thousands of chemicals into the ground that they are supposed to they're supposed to use a process to basically a clean hydration process so that the water that is dumped is not toxic, but is actually, contributes to the environment. And it's obviously affecting not just turtles and animals, but it's affecting vegetation. It's affecting drinking water. It really is quite impactful to the community. And, he just does things. He skirts the law. You see it with Twitter. He's using Twitter or X. He's using it as a political weapon the way that he said others were doing. Jack Dorsey, who helped him get that position, by the way, helped him take over the board and do a hostile takeover of the company. Jack Dorsey's company, which he was opposed to how it was being run, as a political weapon, is now way more of a political weapon. He's lost 80% of the valuation. Folks are jumping off Twitter, and it's basically just incel land at this point. So if Fetterman sees a certain demographic, we're talking about a margin of young white men, some men of color, some much smaller, that he's appealing to. But that could sway an election in a place like Pennsylvania. And I'm going to add one more thing. I was in Pennsylvania last week for an event in Lancaster. And it was a live event, and there were some young men in the audience afterwards who came up and asked me specifically about why I had these feelings about Elon Musk. They could not understand what was wrong with Elon Musk, and I had to go on my diatribe about Elon Musk. I don't think I swayed them, but it is important to counter the narrative of Elon Musk.
I have been, I will be frank with you, taken aback at the level of anger he inspires from so many on the liberal and Democratic side, and I gotta say, I agree with Fetterman. I don't think it's always a good idea. Look, I don't agree with everything he does or certainly says on X, and I'm personally worried that X is too much of a distraction for him because the better use of his time is making us a multi-planetary species. He just shot a rocket into the sky and then caught it. That's amazing. And to be fair, that's not all him. He has a team of brilliant engineers. He's responsible for running the company, but it takes, I'm not crediting it like a Tony Stark where it's just all him. Obviously, there's a lot of people behind him who are doing great work. Great, important, wonderful work. You talk about the environmental impact. I mean, they're always going to say there's environmental impact, so we can't do anything. So we can't build anything in this country. That's why we lost all our manufacturing. That's why we got to get all our microchips from across the Pacific Ocean, because we can't do anything in this country because of red tape and often fraudulent and exaggerated environmental concerns. We are going to the moon. We are going to the Mars. We're going to do it because Elon Musk, he's going to rescue those astronauts that the other people couldn't get. This is a great thing. And you can fight about his commentary on X. I think that's the least important thing he has to do. Although I will point out that no one on the Democratic side complained. I remember hearing from them when Zuckerberg and Facebook explicitly trying to elect Democrats, and before that, like, well, this is a private company. They can do whatever they want.
I
agreed with that. I defended that to Republicans. Now, X, still a private company run by Elon Musk, working. It's a conservative media organization, now one that does allow free speech and dissent, and you can say whatever you want on it for the most part, and that's the way it is.
I'm worried what he's going to do with these rockets. He wants to send folks to space. Who are the people he wants to send to space? Does he want to leave the others here, or does he want to take the others and send them to space? I'm really concerned about the intent. Also, think about it from the lens of old Cold War era. The Russians, I'm sure, are loving the fact that there's a private company challenging NASA as the Republicans are trying to pull funding from NASA. That's like old world. I don't agree with it. I think it's silly, but it is an old Cold War fight. Say that 10 times fast.
Private industry succeeds where government fails. This is a story as old as time. Government is
being starved,
fraudulent, and wasteful and bureaucratic, and because of market incentives, fails to properly spend money where it should be spent, and the market innovates. And
Elon Musk's companies are financially screwed up at this point, and I don't think he's a better leader, especially X. But plenty of problems at Tesla. I don't trust one man over government. I don't trust the Republicans who keep starving government of resources. Is there some fraudulent stuff? Absolutely, and that should be taken care of. That's why we have government oversight agencies that also need to be funded.
Government oversight agencies getting in the way of my Martian colony. We'll be back with more Rising right after this.